Hey, just to let you know, this is admin from PlexGuide. Hey, appreciate you taking your time to check out this video. Basically, this one is the PlexGuide install, so this one should be more to the point. Like I say, with all the videos, go ahead and please like, share, comment your ideas on the YouTube page, including any thoughts you have or any videos you would like to see. So, like I said, this is a relatively young community. It's only 1 month old, but for the amount of members we've picked up and the amount of support we got, it's been pretty overwhelming, and I do appreciate everything that you're doing for us. So anyways, again, we're going to go ahead and show you how to install PlexGuide. So here, we just did a video on VMware Fusion yesterday, and basically I just showed, how to install Ubuntu using an emulator. So, if you're a little curious about that, please check it out. I will try to make a VMware Studio desktop. I can't remember Windows version. I do have it installed on my Windows PC. But I will try to make a video on that. So what we did yesterday was we utilized Terminal basically in order to get in here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Terminal, and so I should be able to go ahead and access this. And so the goal is you want to practice this stuff without the GUI interface. Even though this is Terminal here, it's good, just good practice not to utilize machine unless you're sitting on it. So we're going to go ahead and SSH into it. So this was the address that we came up with yesterday. And basically I should be in the system. And while that is loading up, so we're going to go ahead and check this out real quick, and we're going to go ahead and bring up the wiki. Alrighty. And so, let's see. A lot of stuff open. Well, I'll tell you, this is a MacBook 12, so lightweight PC. So I got, recording, running VMware at the same time. Powerful little machine. So anyways, this is the YouTube channel series here. So you'll see all these available videos. And again, you can access the link here. And then for the info guides, we have a PlexGuide wiki. I cleaned up a lot of it for you, so you'll be able to access what you need. So basically, you go to PlexGuide install here, or you can go to install there. So, and this is always at the top. So you click install and it'll literally bring you to the instructions. Again, it's recommended that you read all of the instructions prior to installing this. So this is the version 2 video, the one prior, so this will obviously be replaced. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I'm trying to think which one we're going to do. Sudo apt-get update. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. And what I recommended in the other video was you just type sudo cd, so you just have elevated permissions. It's not going to do anything. It is not required. It's just you're having a long list of commands go out, so it just prevents problems. Okay, so now this should be less of a headache to go through. This machine already has PlexGuide installed, but it will technically do the same thing again. It'll be a little bit faster because most of the security patches have already been applied. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a minute. So right now we're using an Ubuntu 16.04 machine. Make sure you check your version. Users reported version 17 being fine. This program will install a lot of the prerequisites and the things that you need. So if you have anything out of the ordinary that's not installing, just please let me know and I'll add it. And because there's many versions and flavors of Ubuntu out there, and usually most of your problems that we have for PlexGuide are personnel using various VPS machines. So because when you use a VPS, guess what? It kind of has its own flavor of Ubuntu from the provider that you're getting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type sudo PlexGuide and go ahead and type in the password. So it's going to ask if you agree. And so basically, this is using our bash installer along with Ansible, and so it's conducting a series of steps. So right now you can see that's installing Ansible Playbook. Let me see if I can bring up some of my code in time. GitHub Desktop. It's usually Sublime, and there it is right there. And let's see if we can open it. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up. And here is Ansible. And right now you can see all the roles and responsibilities that it's carrying out. So let me go ahead and push this to the side. So right now this is the first time we're running the pre-installer. So it's gonna take a minute, and it's not you. Again, it's gotta download Docker and do everything else it needs to do. So basically, the startup script is located here, dependent. So if you notice what it's doing right here, might as well teach show while this is occurring. So if any of you want to be awesome coders and contribute to the project, or even make your own modifications, you understand where this is go. So you will go to startup DEP, and so basically it's right now installing Ansible. So you can see right now it's running a series of updates. It's installing the program itself, and what I did was I did a kind of like a silence or redirected the errors to dev null. So basically, you're not getting all of those commands popping along your screen. It might show you an indicator that stuff is going, but again, it's a bit noisy. So if we have any problems, you can always see where it's located at. So right now, here's step 4. So right now, it's downloading, it's doing another update and supporting components. So the next step is step 5. So right now, it's downloading Docker, it's downloading the config, and it's also downloading the pre-install. And so what the pre-install does is basically set up a series of folders. So right now it's installing the packages. So if we go to Ansible and we go to roles and we go to, let's see, PlexSky pre-install. So if we go to pre-install here, we can basically see what's going on a little bit. So right now it's installing all of those dependencies. See? So if we do have things that need to be installed, just please let us know. So installing wget, everything else you need here. And so we'll go back to the dep. So right now what this is doing is it's pre-installing, I believe, again, it's been a minute, supporting programs. So right now it's setting up folders and label, official repository. So again, if you don't do this in a while, it kind of gets you. So step number 6 is not executed yet, so it's still somewhere up in this pre-install process. And actually, this might be the config portion. So there we go. Now it's installing Docker. Okay. So that's what it was doing. It was getting the key for the official install. And again, you'll do that pre-install of all those things. Now here below, when it gets to step number 6, it's going to go ahead and pre-install all the folders, and then I have a thing called label. So if we go to folders, folders X, it's basically going to build all of these paths here for you. So you see, basically users complain, hey, I'm missing this folder. I'm like, well, technically you're not missing anything. So here is the directory, here is the group, and here is the ownership being created, so, the thousands recursive, and, it's obviously putting into 775 mode. So basically you should be good to go. So if you're missing a folder, it would be from this particular location. I'm trying to think what else. So looks like Docker is now starting up. And I'm trying to think what else is going on here. Let's look at dep again. Let me drag this over just a little bit so I get a little bit more space. So right now it's doing 25 seconds just to make sure everything's good to go. So after all this installs right here and it sets up all the folders, which we should see shortly, let's see if it's doing it yet. Yep, so there you go. So it's creating all those directories for you. It's creating the network, so all your containers are kind of like in a consistent network, so they're not floating all over the place. After that, it will start pre-installing RClone of services. It's kind of misleading. So basically what it's doing here is kind of installing some of the startup process. So, if I was to do it, so right now this is on VMware, so this domain thing doesn't honestly matter. So if it says if not, enter skip. Actually, this doesn't matter too because nothing's going to happen. So basically, those are variables that are now being stored in a file. So you saw it said domain and email; those are being stored up. So when you're executing your Docker containers, it's going to look up those variables and fill in the domain and the email address for you. So, it helps with the reverse proxy. So there you go. You see the common packages that we talked about earlier. So again, there's the folders. Here's some what's coming up after. It's going to be like I said, RClone pre-install. These variables set. Right now you're installing version 5.35. So the reason I have it here is because right now we have no updates that require this number to change. So basically, if we have certain things that need to go on, it will check, hey, he's got this variable version 0.528, so we know, if we have to do a patch or something like that, to go ahead and update it. So after it's done installing common packages, like I said, it's going to go through that. It's going to go ahead and pre-install PlexDrive. Since we're installing PlexDrive 4, you see that says bash script startup. So if you go to that location, let's see, script startup. So PlexDrive should be right there. Yep. You see, so what's basically it's doing is this installing a startup service for Mongo. I never could say it right, or MongoDB or whatever it is. So basically, this does not technically install PlexDrive. It's just starting up the startup service for it. So you see there's step number 6. So there goes all the directories and permissions that are needed. So you can go from there. And then basically, what else? See, there's folders. So after it does the pre-install, it's going to go ahead and install Portainer and Trafic. So basically, you don't have to select this from the menus. For any reason, if you have to reinstall these, in the menu, if you go to Programs, you go to Critical, it will go ahead and execute these commands for you. And then when it says installing Docker activation and fix, basically what this is that what a lot of people don't understand, this took me a while to wrap around. This is even really before even using Ansible, is that we used to have a script that rebooted all your containers after 10 seconds when your computer started up. The reason for this is because PlexDrive and RClone take a few seconds to mount. Here's the problem. Your Docker containers load up faster than those two usually showing, before those mounts mount on your startup. So what happens is when your Docker container, like let's say Plex, is looking for PlexDrive 4 because it loads up so fast, it beat your PlexDrive 4 load up, it's going to be like, hey, I don't see it, so I don't know anything. So when your Plex starts up, your PlexDrive 4 folder is missing, and because it's missing, what Plex likes to do if it doesn't see certain things, it likes to start erasing itself. So we used to have an ingenious thing. If you look at the original PlexDrive 1, we had to do a thing where we went into the init and we had all the containers reboot. So basically, that Docker fix basically takes care of that for you. And then installing Watchtower, this program basically updates any containers that receive an update. And anytime we have to force a pre-install, we just change this number right here, dep 33. So for some reason, so for example, like version 3.5, 5.035, I did make a change on the active version, which now allows zabnzbd, no, not zabnzbd, but nzbgit to install what it basically installs directories that are more pre-configured. The problem is I cannot get those to install unless I force people to do a pre-install. So sometimes we change this number up here and change the number up on the menu script, and basically this results in a forced pre-install update. So sometimes when people see the pre-install update, they're like, oh no, should I do this? Will this mess everything up? No, because if you look at what the pre-installer is doing, it's not changing anything. It's just installing everything. If everything's already installed, like for example, some of these containers, if some of these things are already installed, it just kind of skips over a lot of it. So it's not really an issue. And then also the Docker tends to be a little bit faster too, because we put a variable to say, hey, if this is installed or, Docker is out there, please do not, wait the 25 seconds again. But, it does its due diligence to install Docker in case something's messed up. So while this is almost done finishing out, let's let it finish up. And we should be almost good to go. So let me see if I go to drive.google.com. I should have my, oh, that was the wrong one. We're going to go to a Google console. So like I'll need to go to PlexGuide. So, like I said, the reason I've been keeping this documentation down is because, again, in Linux, there's so much you got to know. So that's kind of how I started PlexGuide. I bought the PlexGuide domain. If you type, again, while this is all loading, if we type docs.plexguide.com, originally, which was my domain, because I didn't really have a domain to share, or doc.plexguide.com. It will show you my old Google document from back in the day. Okay, so here's PlexGuide right here. So PlexGuide Wiki. It's like Firefox likes to take its time. So this is technically version 1, and this goes back 13 August, but you can see here all the instructions. Let me see if this is still, yep, still doing this thing. So there's Portainer, like you saw earlier. So you can see here that I really tried to help users out. And this was not me not knowing too much programming, but because it was well documented, it gave PlexGuide a foundation. And originally we coded the whole thing out Bash, learned Ansible, converted all our scripts mostly, and kind of went from there. So you can see, you know, we're talking about RClone and doing this, and here's the commands. So it was a good time installing Docker. And there goes Traffic right there. You can see how we're talking about the building out the YML, so you see how we had a list of it. So, you know, if you want to learn Linux a little bit, maybe going through this document might be helpful too. It kind of gives you some perspective. Some of the stuff is, I mean, it works, but I wouldn't recommend it now. But you can see that there's a lot of information, screenshots, and everything we took. You know, so there's WordPress. So we really went into it. So let's see here. So what we need to do is we need to go to need to Google API. Where would I put that? Right here. So it looks like installing Watchtower. Okay. So I'm not running out of time here. So we're just waiting. Like I said, this MacBook's running it's a 2015 M2 core processor, so I do have Windows PCs, but for how well it runs, I'm pretty amazed. So user at plexguide.com. And like I said, this is just my dummy account. I'm trying to think here. So many passwords you gotta memorize. Looks like that's a no-go. You gotta love all this. Okay, so it looks like this is done. So right now, basically, we're inside the programs. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to go to PlexDrive and RClone, and while I get this password up real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick pause. Okay, so I'm back. So I managed to get the client ID and client secret. Again, these will be deleted after this video, so it really doesn't do you much of anything. So, but again, it's just to give you a demo of everything it installs. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to install PlexDrive. I need to really switch those two around. The reason for it is because UnionFS installs with RClone, so it's better to have PlexDrive ready. Now the thing is, if your Google Drive is a little bit big, this is going to take a little while. Note that when you install PlexDrive, make sure that you reboot after you're done, because if you don't, it's going to cause you headaches. I mean, technically your server and everything will run, and you can keep doing things while it's open. But once you close out the terminal window, PlexDrive stops running. So you can have all kinds of issues with Plex and everything else. The reason this process is so easy, as I explained in my other videos, is either with a Mac or a Linux, if you're using their terminals, copy and paste works without issues. But let's see here. Chrome. Let me go back to Chrome. Paste. So that was a paste, and now I got my code. I'm going to go ahead and paste it in the terminal here. And there you go. You see it's done. that fast, but you know, if you got like a large PlexDrive, this can take a while. The good thing is, to make this a little bit easier for you those in the future, if you have a server with PlexDrive installed, you can back up your token. You do have to wait the entire process, but you don't have to re-enter and remake your key. So you can either close it, but the end state is you need to reboot it. So the best thing to do is press Control-C, something along those lines. So, and we're trying to find a way to make it automatically reboot, but I haven't been able to do so. The reason for it is because the program is running, and I just don't know how to. Maybe make a background script that says, "Hey, finished," you know, reboot. Might be something I might check into. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a Pseudo Reboot. And basically, when it loads up, we're gonna go ahead and test it out. So might take a minute. So I'm just go ahead and pause this. Okay, we're back. So it looks like it went ahead and rebooted. So I'm going to go ahead and back into the system. Give it a second here. It's going to take a sweet time because again, there's a lot of things going on. So you saw how your front changed. Good stuff. You know. Let's see here. So now we should see PlexDrive. Now remember, PlexDrive is a read-only script. I mean, it's a read-only drive. So, like I said, if I go to my Google Drive, those are the things that are sitting in there. So let me go to drive.google.com, drive.google.com, and basically it's just to validate what I have sitting in there already. So you see right here. So you see that same book, cat, txt, chicken. So because this is a read-only drive, I can't write to it. So the reason you need to install RClone is because RClone is a writable drive, but you need PlexDrive specifically for Plex, because if Plex scans against the PlexDrive, you're good. If Plex scans against RClone, you're not good. You're going to get the API banned and you can't access your Google Drive for 24 hours. So that's why we had to do this fun workaround in order to make it all work. So we got mount PlexDrive 4. That's good to go. So because it's not a writable drive, I can create something here. And let's make a Google Doc. Yeah, let's make a, no, that's not going to be, that won't work. Maybe a folder might be a little quicker. I'm going to call it test Plex guide. Okay, so now you see a folder here. So if I do it again, it should show up. Eventually it does. So, alrighty. But eventually it does show up and you're good to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and install RClone. So let's go sudo plex guide. So we're going to go ahead and install RClone. Yeah, so I do need to make these backwards. So I'm going to do the unencrypted method. If you want to watch the other videos about the unencrypted and encrypted method, I go through a lot more slowly on how it works, including PlexDrive. Talk about it just a little bit more. So the unencrypted method's a little faster to do. I went through this so many times that I don't need the guide to accomplish this. Let's see here. But it is all under the Wiki for you on what steps to carry out. So basically, I'm going to create a new remote. I'm going to call it G drive. And again, just watch the other video 10 on the type of RClone you want to watch. You know, if you want everything a little bit slower pace. So here's the RClone unencrypted if you need to access it. So right now it's asking for my client ID. So it's from what we did earlier. So same thing, client ID here. Again, you'll run into problems with RClone if you use a Windows computer, as I mentioned in the other videos, because things don't copy and paste well into PuTTY. But with Macs and Linux, you're pretty much good to go. And you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll be very pissed off. So no for the autoconfig because I'm not on the machine, but I'm using terminal through my computer here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in and provide access like I did with the other one. So and we're going to go here, paste that. We're going to get a quick authorization code. So you're going to allow it to, and here is the copy and paste code. So, and again, I do appreciate your patience on this. My guide is just to give you a walkthrough, what's burning on the top of my mind. Technically, that's how I work best. Configure this as team drive, no. You'll never do team drive, just a no. And so right now, you can see I have my G drive and everything should be good to go. So when I quit it, you'll notice Ansible kick in, it'll deploy all the services, and then you should be good from there. You can switch between unencrypted and encrypted, but if you do, you need to configure all the steps. If you go from encrypted to unencrypted, you don't have to do all the steps. You just got make sure you. What I'm saying is make sure you pick the corresponding. But when you're flipping backwards, you don't have to redo the mouse. One thing I do need to let you know though is if you start to put all your stuff in an encrypted drive and then you want it to go unencrypted, you have to download it all and move it here. It's a pain. If you want to do unencrypted to encrypted, you have to download it all and then move it there. So it's not a fun day. So I'm going to go ahead and exit. So RClone UnionFS is installed, and UnionFS is the shadow drive that I like to call. So if see, there's that test Plex guide. Maybe it was there earlier. Maybe I was just overlooking it. So okay, there's that test Plex guide that we did earlier. Okay, so if I go cd mount G drive, like what we configured, you see how it's the same thing. And then I should be able to do cd mount UnionFS, and knock on wood, I hope it works without a reboot. And there you go. So I need to make sure to switch those two in the menu, because if you do it the other way around, it does cause, if you do it the normal way, it does cause problems. So right now what's happening is, just to let you know, is that when your stuff downloads, it hits your UnionFS. Your UnionFS is composed of two drives. So you have mount move, which you have not seen. cd mount move. cd mount move. And this is your local drive. You see right there? You notice movies, music, TV, right? But if I do, UnionFS, cd mount, what am I trying to say? cd mount PlexDrive 4, just to show you there, your directory, you'll notice those folders are not there. So that's showing you that eventually these folders will sync to your Google Drive. So they're in your mount move, so this is what's going to sync. So, but if I do UnionFS, it's a combination of your local and it's a combination of your Plex drive. So if I do mount UnionFS, cd mount UnionFS, you'll notice that everything is there, including those folders. You see? So basically, it's like your local folder and your Plex drive combined. So what happens is Plex drive is read only, right? So what happens is, let's say you're downloading a TV show. The problem is Sonar wants to, like I said, if it scans Plex drive 4, that's bad, because what happens is when your TV shows download, there's no way for it to get back up because Plex drive 4 is read only. So what happens is the TV show downloads, hits mount UnionFS, it bounces from the Plex drive 4 because it's read only, and it goes to mount move, cd mount move, because it is a writable drive. So a way we can test this is, like, let's say I type, let's go to UnionFS. So let's pretend we're going to be one of the programs. So we're going to say sudo touch my TV show dot mbk. It's not a real file, or mkv. So you'll see here that it exists now, right? But if we go to PlexDrive, now PlexDrive 4, it's not there, right? Even though, we said it would be, but it's not yet because nothing's moved. But if I go to mount move, the local drive, you notice it's sitting right here, right? So we're waiting for it to kick off. So how does it move? So this is for the unencrypted, but if you type sudo systemctl status move, right now you can see you see it's running, but every 8 minutes this script will kick in and start syncing everything to your Google Drive. So if I do sudo restart move, because there's only a 30-second delay, sudo restart systemctl restart move, and then if I go status, and again it's about 30 seconds will go by before we see this. So status move, you see there's the sleep right here that's going on for 30 seconds. So we have to just wait a teeny bit. And just give it a few more seconds. And again, if you're new to all this, I know it can seem a little overwhelming, but like I said, if you practice and play with it and you kind of go through with the video, you might get it. Like I said, imagine trying to figure all this out. There you go. So you see right here, it says that it's basically copied it and then it deleted it. So basically it deletes from your local drive for you automatically. Okay, so now if we go to mount and move, it should be gone, right? That's gone, but check out the magic here. If I go to UnionFS, it should be there. Depends on PlexDrive kicks in. And damn you, PlexDrive, it's not showing up yet, but yeah, it's not showing up yet, but it will. So, because again, I think PlexDrive takes about a minute for it to do its caching ability. So if I go sudo Systemctl Status PlexDrive 4, I never see it shows you that it's running. There you go. UnionFS, you see there's my TV show, right? So that means PlexDrive's working. So if I go cd mount PlexDrive 4, then bam, look at that. It's in your Google Drive. And if I go here, drive.google.com, if I go there, it should show up. See, there's the, let's see, and bam, look at that. There's your TV show. And now your local drive is freed up because it moved it and synced it away for you. So that's the purpose of all of this madness right here. While you're installing the two, see, and it's gone. So every 8 minutes, whatever is collected, it will sync it and push it forward for you. So here's the thing. You'll have people tell you, well, it's taking a while to get to my Google Drive. And what you have to understand is Google has a 750 gigabyte cap every 24 hours. So some other programs or other programmers may be like, well, you know, it downloads to your drive and then it just sends it all up at 200 gigs. To me, it's kind of stupid. The reason for it is because you may have a small VPS and you may not have that much space. So for me, is to get it off your drive. The handicap is built in order to prevent you from hitting that 750 gig cap. So basically, it moves about a TV show, you know, a decent TV show, maybe like in 2 minutes, which is pretty fast. That's when you have a big backlog. You can be like, hurry up, hurry up. So I'm going to give you a tip here. So let's do Plex Guide on what you should do and how you should configure it. So here's the thing. If you use, before I do this, if you understand how UnionFS works, it doesn't matter that it moved or not, because guess what? Plex is going to scan UnionFS. It's going to see the TV show either way, if it's on your local drive or it's on your Plex drive. So that's why it doesn't matter what other programmers or what other sites say. So, you know, I set you up for success. Now, if you point things at your Plex drive 4, then yes, you're not, you know, when Plex scans it, you know, until it uploads, it's not going to show up there. So let's do sudo Plex Guide. And so we're going to go ahead and hit programs. So I'm going to show you one thing that's very important before this video ends. And it might be a little bit outside the scope, but hey, something I think that's important. So I haven't configured Zap fully yet, but NZBGit does an awesome job because I pretty much pre-configured everything for you. Basically, it's already going to point all the folders for you. Before we had it where you had to type it in, and then we had half of it done. And now it's pretty much fully done. The only thing you have to do in NZBGit is get a... so it's going to do everything for you. So you see how NZBGit's installing everything, and you'll be good to go. Trying to think. So what you're going to do in NZBGit is, shoot, am I doing the right program? Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up the scheduler to unpause every hour, and you're going to set up a disk space cap. So for example, I have a 1 terabyte solid state, so I set the cap to leave about 50 gigs of space. If you have a VPS and you only got like 40 gigs, man, slim pickings. But you got to remember, you need enough space to unpack the files. If you know anything about WinRAR or anything like that, yeah, it's gonna be a bad day if you don't have enough disk space. So you need enough disk space to unpack, and obviously, you know, for uploading. So, you know, a lot of people, you got to be very careful when you're getting these really, really small drive. So I'll go to 192, 168, 1.55 for what I set up. And then I'm going to do 6789. Hopefully it loads up. Basically, the password was removed for you, so make sure you put a password on. But again, what we show you here is your paths are, look, bam, it's already all set up for you. See? So, and even your categories. See, look at that. I took care of you right here. So there's your things. And actually, I do see one flaw. So it's good I did this video. This needs to be lowercase. That's going to mess you up. But I'm going to have that fixed and patched before you deploy it. Okay, so for newsgroup servers, if you need newsgroup servers, here's 5 that I recommend: News Hosting, Easy News, Usenet Server, Pure Usenet, and XLND. I love NewsHost with a passion. On a gig connection, I've had this thing download at 150 megabytes, the big MB. So they, on a solo connection, I mean, well, not solo, but the multiple connections, but they alone were great. So I use News Hosting and Usenet together, and they're great. I tested these other 3, and they're pretty good too, but my money is on these 2 right here. So, go ahead and check those 2 out. Just click the link, and you'll be good to go. So if you click the link, I already have discounts built in for you, so you'll save some money. But again, I love News Hosting. And like I said, I wouldn't advertise something that I don't use. Okay, so back to the program. Let's see here. So paths, scheduler. So this is what you need to do. So you need to go here, and you're going to go *:30, and then you're going to say unpause right there. So, and then you're going to do save all changes. I don't know, I might be tempted to maybe even save that, to maybe build that in for everybody, but it's not a good idea. It is in the guide. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to unpack, and, no, it's an unpack. I can't remember where it's at. It always gets me every single time. It's really simple. It's about like how much space you need to leave over, and this is really important. You see it. It's not scheduler. I don't know. It might be under. No, it can't be paths. So, for example, somebody convinced me to use NZBGit. It took me many years, but NZBGit has less problems. So, than ZabNZB. ZabNZB is pretty, and it's pretty, but it tends to leave a lot of leftover files that cause me headaches. Okay, so I know where it's at. It's under download queue. And what I would recommend to do is, so for example, if you have a decent sized disk, I would say 2,500 megabytes. That's 25 gigs. Again, if you let this value go too low, you're going to start having problems. I mean, you can even do 10, but you got to remember, it depends on if you're going to have a movie or something that downloads at like 30 gigs and you're at this space. It's good. This program will pause, but yeah, it's just going to cause you all kinds of headaches. So, that is pretty much it. So here's our programs that you can deploy, and you see we sorted it out for you. We installed a performance thing to help you out, a troubleshooting thing. So if you need to look at information, you can look at your hard drive space. You can do all kinds of wonderful things. You see here's a troubleshooter to help install certain things. Here's the view to services. So for example, there's the unencrypted PlexDrive 4, and trying to think what else. Here's the major uninstaller if you need to run that too. So, if you got problems, run that. So other than that, I do appreciate your time. So again, please comment on this video if you got anything. And again, this video was kind of, like I said, like all of them, I just done them off the hip. It's the best way I teach because, I just recall all kinds of things. I don't believe in putting a ton of music in and scripting and, 80,000 snapshots. I'm just trying to get you your information to the point. And then, like I said, please join us at plexscott.com and, help build up our user community. So I do have a lot of awesome people there that have made this project success. Thank you for your time.